Do-do, 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 do-do. Are we ready to blade shave you? Shave you closer. Right, we're there. Taking this out of my ear because I can't hear myself think. So, let's talk about the classic British gangster movie. So, what do I mean by that? Well, here you go. These are the videos, these are the films that I would consider to be real classics of the British gangster movie genre. Get Carter, The Long Good Friday, Sexy Beast, and Lock, Stock. Although I think technically Lock, Stock should be before Sexy Beast. That's like 98 or 99, and Sexy Beast is 2000. I'll let that just keep scrolling over whilst we get into this. So what about the classic British gangster movie? What can we say about it? These movies are considered classics. Why are they classics? What is it that they all kind of capture? What are the overarching kind of like themes, characters, tropes? So how can we define what the classic British gangster movie is? Well, you can run through it with me. Why not? The location, of course, is the first thing. Often inhabiting the shadows of industrialised cities like London, and I don't know where actually it is meant to be in Get Carter. It's up north somewhere, but it's a very Get Carter is full of older working men. It's definitely a movie that is about the older generation. I'm talking at least late 30s. Michael Caine must be 35 in whenever it was made, 1971. So it's definitely about older. There's an older man in it, and older men. There's no young people in, barely any young people in Get Carter, except for the victims. So within the classic gangster movie, there are an exceptional amount of slightly older men. Get Carter, Long Good Friday, again, just, I think Pierce Brosnan is looking like practically the youngest person in it, and he looks about 25 or something in 1980. Everybody else really old. So what else? Sexy Beast. Sexy Beast is basically middle-aged. The main character is Gal is trying to retire from the underworld. He can't get away from it. Now the exception to this is Lock, Stock. But the difference between Lock, Stock and those other three movies that you can see here even, is that it's a sort of crime comedy, and there's this sort of lighter element to it. They're younger people, and also in terms of how Lock, Stock plays out, spoiler alert, the protagonists get away with it lightly, notwithstanding a fairly convoluted, chaotic plot. They all get away with it. Whereas in the other stories, there's a lot more serious consequences for inhabiting the milieu, as it were, of the shadows. So, hello, Architects of Humanity. You mentioned Peaky Blinders. Yes, that is a classic British gangster series. There is a movie. But we're gonna focus specifically on these four, because I think these four have I think they're sort of modern classics. In fact, if we go over here, let's just go to my other page. Hello, it's me from a little box. What have we got here? We did have a little look at, let me bring up that other page, which is about the classic British gangster movies, just to see what Google thinks, not what I think. Let's go with that. What's going on? Where's the answer there? British gangster movies. Here we go. So top British gangster movies, they're all in there. Long Good Friday, including, well, there's Sexy Beast, which is, they've got the, oh yeah, that is the poster for the film. That's good. Gangster Number 1 is in there as well, and Snatch and Layer Cake and Brighton Rock. Definitely those two, those as well. But if I had a video which featured all of these videos, all of these films, you'd probably never watch. So suffice to say, just looking at these ones in particular, and also because they bear sort of relevance to the turning point in this video, which I will get to in just a minute. Let me, oh, transition again. No, let's just go back to, hang on a sec. There we go. Now, why have we got that on the screen? That's kind of weird. I was hoping we were going to get to see ooh, he needs to think about this more. How come we have got that on there? Right, bear with me whilst I go into my, not my image slideshow, Mac OS screen capture, application capture, window capture, I think. Let's go with that. Nope. Display capture. Here we go. Right, we're back. So let's look at Get Carter to begin with. Get Carter is considered a modern British gangster, a modern classic. It's considered a classic and it has been fully restored to 4K, which is great. So let's just have a quick looky look at
some hard
the
nuts operate
new
up
trailer.
there, Jack. I smell trouble, boy. What are you going for?
To find out what happened.
Jack Carter. What you doing around here then?
I'm visiting relatives.
I'll just pause it there. Already you can see the these kind of backdrops, industrial, the railway line goes into this shot here. I mean, I don't think there's a more industrial looking shot of the north of England and a sadder shot of north of England than that, of these houses with the chimneys and all of that stuff. So it's a journey from London, this posh gangster going back to the grime and trying to uncover the truth about his brother's death. So we have a mystery to unsolve. We follow Carter in an investigative kind of role as he goes around getting to the bottom of who did it, so to speak. So let's now consider that and consider the Long Good Friday. So the Long Good...
Get that. Could you try again?
I can try again, thank you. The Long Good Friday is an English thriller set in, was filmed in late 79, came out in 80, and follows Harold Shand, played by Bob Hoskins, who is trying to sort of go straight with a big redevelopment deal on the London Docklands and finds that he has come afoul of his American investors, of the IRA and the other local gangs. So
For more than 10 years, there's been peace.
what have we got going on here?
Everyone to his own patch. I'm setting up the biggest deal in Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, the new London.
Sorry, I'm still not sure about that.
Nor am I. Right, so what we're saying about The Long Good Friday in terms of it being a classic, we've got this criminal kingpin at the centre of the unfolding of his crime syndicate, right? He's literally, he reckons he's got it all made. He's right on the cusp of everything coming together, and it all starts turning to shit, right? So people get killed, people are getting blown up, and he's desperate to try and reinstate himself. So within that within that sort of thought, you've got London shown to be this place of wealth and redevelopment and the power struggle really there that comes with being the underworld boss. This whole idea obviously of lawlessness, and there's just one crime syndicate against another, and if you go hard and fast enough at it, the biggest, baddest syndicate is going to win, right? They're just, what is it about Harold Shand, about Bob Hoskins, that's gone sort of soft in The Long Good Friday? Is it his relationship with his partner, with the Helen Mirren character? Is it the fact that he's got one of his best friends is gay and is he's still part of the crew, he's not been pushed out by it, so you've got something else there, like not an overtly powerful masculine struggle to assert dominance, although they grew up together. Do we know or not know whether Harold is in fact been kind of a bisexual essentially in it? So what do we make of that in terms of exploring these thoughts of masculinity and sexuality within the British crime thriller? And for sure it goes deeper, especially in Get Carter and in Sexy Beast. There's a sort of sexual deviancy, this underbelly, this world of pornography and essentially asserting the male power over women, and just a general outpouring of just sexual lust, as it were, I guess. In Sexy Beast, there's the Edward Fox character and Ian McShane, and they're at some swingers, kind of posh swingers do, and you got to wonder about who the power struggle that exists between them at that point when they're all stripped back. And that is another thing, bouncing straight on from being stripped back, is that is literally shown in The Long Good Friday and in Get Carter. Both our protagonists at different points in those things, they end up stripped back Michael Caine, Jack Carter, is in bed with the landlady and gets caught out by two hoodlums, and there's a very famous scene of him with the shotgun, and just this whole powerful, stripped back, raw, masculine energy that comes across in that scene, and also in The Long Good Friday, after Harold, spoiler alert, accidentally kills someone. He is then shown in a very, it's way too long for me. I'm sure in this in modern times this would never happen, but Harold is in the shower washing himself down as Helen Mirren gets rid of his bloody clothes, etc. And you have a sense of him trying to wash away his guilt and his sorrow for doing what he's done. So there's it's a very, as you get through these thrillers, you realise there's like a line of action, but then you also kind of have these kind of, they're often very focused on the form of masculinity and really showing the trajectory of that sort of masculine character and where it leads to, off the rails, basically. A typical masculine trajectory would be leave home, find a woman that's like your mum but different, marry her, have babies and procreate. Whereas these guys are all slightly deviant, they're morally corrupt, they're, potentially, I'm sure back when Long Good Friday was made, the potential, the nuanced point that Bob Hoskins' character might be bisexual, I'm sure was much more controversial than it would be today, for instance. But still has to be noted that it is definitely there. There's definitely a sense of that. So let's carry on with my very wiggly journey through classic British gangster films. Let's go to Lock, Stock. Let's have a look at a quick clip without taking a minute.
Play cards tonight, son?
Oh, don't be silly, Dad. I wouldn't have anything to do with that.
50 grand. 80 grand.
Fast,
100 grand.
stylish, and funny. Okay? It's different from those other older films, which are definitely darker. They've still tried to keep this dark sort of tone, kind of mildly sort of noirish and it's a fun gangster film. Ultimately you're not, I don't think I ever felt that concerned about the violence, about where these protagonists were going and what was going to happen to them. I would have been surprised if any of the protagonists were point blank shot in the face. I just wasn't going to see that happening. So, but the one thing that definitely has caught on is the patter, the Guy Ritchie-ness, the thing that literally has launched the career of Jason Statham in being a kind of OTT law unto himself. I would class someone like Jason Statham in the same category as someone like Jean-Claude Van Damme. you know what you're getting. It's a kind of rinse and repeat for a lot of his movies. He plays the same kind of characters, and I think that's what people like about it, about him. So I think Lock, Stock is influential and important in that, to that degree, in that it has found itself a platform for this slightly lighter weight British gangster film that can be fun and accessible. It's not dark to the point where, like in Get Carter, where it's sort of that it goes to a point where Jack realizes that the people who killed his brother were essentially sexually abusing and predatory around his niece. So that might be an uncomfortable watch for you and your girlfriend on a Friday night, whereas Lock, Stock is just going to have you both laughing. But it's important, and it is something which obviously makes a film watchable, and that's important because obviously being a brilliant film means nothing unless you've got bums on seats and people actually want to go watch it. So yeah, Lock, Stock is definitely a very influential and important film to consider when it comes to these classic gangster movies. So let's just quickly whip forward to Sexy Beast. So this came out in 2001 and is about an ex-criminal, Gary Gow Dove, who is in an idyllic retirement and is disrupted by crime boss Don Logan, who demands he do one more job. Let's have a look at a bit of a trailer.
What's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst scenario? He's gonna come here, ask me, I'm gonna say no.
Do the job.
No, Don.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I can't.
You can.
I can't. Don't do this.
Do what? What am I doing?
This.
This what?
I know a bloke who knows a bloke who knows a bloke. Now, you know this bloke.
Do I?
This is a bloke you know. Wants me to put a team together.
8 men. Strong. Good boys.
Holy Toledo. I'm going to take this out of my ear again because I can't hear myself going round and round. So the thing that is really interesting for me about Sexy Beast is the fact that you could intercut some scenes with Lock, Stock and they feel like they kind of inhabit the same world. But the way that the drama is played, the action is played, the way that the characters are amped up in a dramatic sense just sets it apart for me in terms of the realism. Okay? It's still a serious movie. Sexy Beast is funny. They've the character that Ben Kingsley plays, Don Logan, is just one of the all-time best gangsters we've seen on screen. And to that regard, I think Sexy Beast is it does a lot with less than Lock, Stock. There's so much going on in Lock, Stock, it's almost too much to comprehend, but it's reduced. Sexy Beast is a smaller cast and the overall plot line is much easier to follow. And not, no disrespect to any of these movies, just different. Sexy Beast also came out in 2001, very interesting. And it has some interesting names, right? Like There's a guy in there called Gal. His mate, who he hangs around with, is called H. And H's wife, girlfriend, is called Jackie, which I find very interesting because, he said, reaching for the pivot point in this... here we go. So I'm back here. Yeah. This. So this is my classic British gangster novel. This was written as a screenplay. The Compromise is a classic British gangster story. Okay, I wrote it as a screenplay and rewrote it as a novel, and obviously you can buy it. But what I find interesting is that I wrote this originally in 1998, and my first draft, and I rewrote it 20 years later when I was, you know, grown up, more grown up. You're definitely grown up when you're 25, but my God, don't you ever grow up from 25 to 50. Suffice to say, it's very interesting to me when you consider these other classic British gangster movies. Now, I wrote this before Sexy Beast, and I've got one of my characters is called H and another one is called Jackie. I find that a bit weird. Okay, but there's also a Frank in this, and there's a Frank in, I think there must be a Frank in every single one of these movies. There's a Frank. I don't know what it is. There are some names that just belong to the underworld. So suffice to say, this book is set in the mid-90s, and it follows an ex-soldier turned gangster who's filling in the shoes of his brother Frank, who's been in prison for the last 4 years. Our protagonist has promised his sister-in-law that he's going to help bring up his nephew, little Al, and he hasn't really been doing that. He's just been turning up with money. But when Frank gets out of prison and Blair decides, after a rather chaotic incident with the Dutch mob in which he's left kind of on the run from them, he decides he's getting out of the business, and he takes one last job in order to buy a plane ticket to America and become a cage fighter. He's going to do his own thing on his own terms. He's not working for a government. He's not working for a syndicate. He's going to work for himself and get out there. Now, then comes in trouble into paradise. There's someone tries to, there's a murder plot, and it basically causes Blair to pivot and rethink. It's about this. It's about the compromise, which is what Blair faces in terms of his masculine trajectory. So beyond the classics, which I've just been talking about, there is similarly some things that go on in the compromise. So we have an industrial kind of location. We have this whole Amsterdam being a flower market, but also a market for drugs, a market for people trafficking and all of that stuff. We have chaotic overlapping storylines. We have at the beginning a gun deal which Blair is the point man on, and he's a point man on a gun deal for the Dutch mob and the group of Swedish bikers. Mid-90s, side note, mid-90s there was the Nordic Biker War. So this leans into that bit of history, fictionalizes it. Suffice to say, the Dutch mob are dealing to both sides of the Swedish Biker War, and are then faced with the wrath of the Swedish bikers for doing so. Blair is unfortunately en route back to Amsterdam to rescue his nephew, along with, and get this, new element to classic British gangster movies, a buddy element. Okay, if you've seen Die Hard 3, if you've seen Midnight Run, again, there's that antagonistic buddy element which I think is absolutely perfect for the British gangster genre, because you've got this morality, the morality of the protagonist being twanged the whole time with what they're up to, and I think as a counterpoint to that, having another character who's a neutral or a good character but more passive, essentially has the capability of creating this antagonism and conflict, to keep pushing the protagonist further and further in their journey, in their desire for what they thought was right and what actually is right. So that's one element that I've added into The Compromise, which I think give it its own space, in the same way that Get Carter has its own sense of what it is, the working men towns and cities up north, the difference and the contrast between Jack from the south and these guys and the way they run it in the north, the way that Sexy Beast has its own thing about this retirement. You can never get away from your life, the life, as it were. Once you're a known man, you're always going to be, if they can find you, they'll drag you back. To a degree, The Compromise has got a bit of that, but it's got this buddy element. It's got a whole another group of characters, and there is a lot more interplay within the separate plot line which we follow. We follow the plot line of the Swedish bikers taking their revenge, and we see how this all plays out, and it becomes a more complete and a deeper, more engaging story world, which I think is really important, especially if you think about sequels, and not just rubbish sequels, proper sequels, ones where, say, there's a fair bit more juice in The Compromise. So what do we love about classic British gangster thrillers? Well, we love them because they're a vicarious pleasure. We know that these guys aren't good, the real good guys, and so it's a sort of secret, desirable pleasure to run through their life, and also to see them get their just desserts. Obviously, there is a moral line in these movies and texts which we can follow. So, if a protagonist is a really bad person, ultimately, they typically in movies will get some sort of punishment. We don't even see what happens to Harold Shand in The Long Good Friday, but pretty sure that he meets a pretty grisly end. The power of that movie is in the sustained final shot of Harold sat there in the back of a taxi as Pierce Brosnan looks at him as if to say, "We've got you now," and it all dawns on him. The moment is a beautiful final moment, and almost more powerful for the fact that we don't see Harold get his comeuppance, a bullet in the head or whatever. We just see the slow descent into the suffering. On the other hand, with Get Carter, we see what happens with Jack Carter. You know, it turns out that the person who is genuinely at fault in the corruption of his niece isn't actually the big man. It's actually the driver. It's just, you know, someone who we've met already in the at the beginning of the film. And whilst Jack gets his revenge, the bigger man in it all just sets off one of his hitmen and dispenses with Jack. So, you know, at the end of the day, we are learning in our understanding of the underworld about where our particular pawn, our protagonist, as it were, protagonist, in our kind of underworld game of chess. We see how he is going to meet his fate, as it were. So, yes. So, The Compromise was written as a screenplay. I took a 20-year sort of break from it as I grew as a filmmaker, and I've come back to it. I've written it out as a book. You can listen to this for free on this channel. So if you look for the audiobook version, it's read by Gerard Fletcher, who is a fantastic actor, my friend, who was in The Crown and in Happy Valley and in a bunch of other stuff. He is an awesome voiceover guy and actor. So listen to it for free, and please do give me some of your feedback in the comments. Rate it, review it, tag me. You can go to Amazon and pop your review there too. Basically, if I'm going to get this made as a movie, I'm going to need a pitch deck, right, with everything I've just said, but better. Plus, I'm going to need an audience. I'm going to need your feedback so you can help me make The Compromise the next classic British gangster movie. Okay, trust me. You can listen to this for free. Listen to it. It has it reads like a movie. Literally, the first person that bought this messaged me the next day and said, I am absolutely ripping through this. What a great yarn. It reads just like a movie. That was his message back, and I couldn't be happier with that kind of feedback. So tell me what you think. The Compromise is available now. You can buy a copy on Amazon. You can get the Kindle version. It's like a couple of quid. If you're a book reviewer or anybody that does reviews of books and has a big social media presence, get in contact with me. I'm Adam Loretz. Contact me via my website, loretzvisuals.co.uk, and send me an email. I will happily post out copies of the book to you if that's what you want, because ultimately this isn't about making money. This is about getting this book made into a film. That's where I'm at with it, okay? Definitely not getting rich as a writer. You have to sell a lot of books. Just for your insight, one copy of this pays me about £2. The digital version, if you buy it on a Kindle, I make about £1.70. So, you know, in my from my point of view, listen to it for free. If you want to help me out, just buy it on Kindle if that's what you want. But if you do want a proper book, because books are ace, and they, you know, when you're on holiday by the pool, you can read it and then obviously use it as a coaster for you and your partner's drinks, or you and your, you know, nibbles, a little portion of chips or something on there. But suffice to say, The Compromise is out now, and it is a 5-star rated thriller on Amazon. It bears many of the same tropes, themes, the character types that are in classic British gangster movies. It also has this buddy element. It has some real life influence, because I was in Liverpool in the mid-90s to meet my pen pal girlfriend for a night out. And we ended up with these gangsters who are all featured in this book. And they told us some stories, supposedly on a kind of midnight drive from Liverpool to Manchester to go clubbing. And they just seemed to stop at all the clubs and pick up money. So I can only presume they were picking up drug money because of the amount of drugs they had, which was a lot. So it's based on a true moment in time. I've elaborated on it, I've fictionalized it, but suffice to say, just know that all the juice that's in this book is real. It comes from a real place, and you know, you should grab a copy and beyond the compromise, obviously check out all of these movies too. They are absolutely fantastic films, and anyone who's into classic British gangster movies should definitely check them out. Now, I ended up buying Get Carter and Sexy Beast on DVD because couldn't find them anywhere streaming. Long Good Friday was streaming on Amazon Prime, but yes, you should definitely search them out because they are very, very good movies. The Compromise, as I say, is my debut. It was a screenplay that I turned into a book. Let's get it made as a movie. I'm going to create a pitch deck, and hopefully your feedback and your ratings, I can combine them, put them into another page about the audience for this book, and we can get it out there. Right, that's it. I think my camera's going to run out of gas. I run out of gas. Hope you've enjoyed this really winding, thoughtful summary of classic British gangster movies. I'm Adam Loretz from the Filmmakers Workshop. I hope you've enjoyed this. Next time I will do it with a script. But until then, enjoy this video and enjoy these classic British thrillers, and definitely check out, one last time, The Compromise